Hello, everyone. While this is the 34th episode of our Patreon and YouTube member exclusive podcast, I would like to welcome you to our first ever public episode. Our team has always wanted to eventually make some of the episodes from React to the K Weekly go public, but it took us a while to upgrade our equipment and find the right episodes to make public. For this episode, everyone had so much to say about every single track, and I thought it turned out so good that I want everyone to listen to it. The audio-only version of this episode is available on our Patreon and Spotify pages for all of our Patreon members, no payment required, while the rest of our React to the K Weekly podcast episodes are available for rookie tier YouTube and Patreon members. Hope you enjoy listening. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the React to the K Weekly podcast, a podcast where we listen to a K-pop album and give our honest thoughts and opinions on it every week. My name is Umu, and today I'm joined by...
Hi guys, I'm Sam.
What's up? I'm Will.
And today we're talking about RM's Right Place, Wrong Person album. Before we dive into the tracks, you may be wondering, I'm not used to Umu's voice doing the intro. It's usually Colton. Well, everyone, welcome to like the summer version of React to K Weekly, where I go back home to Southern California, Colton stays in New York, and Will and Sam also happen to be in Southern California.
Oh yeah.
Let's, without further ado, start off with the first track, which it took me actually forever to realize that this is the opposite of the album name.
Oh,
because the album is Right Place, Wrong Person, and this track is Right People, Wrong Place.
Mm-hmm.
But the lyrics are supporting the album title.
Yeah, the lyrics, it like changes a little bit throughout it.
Like my mind is absolutely blown.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. See, right place,
people,
wrong person,
wrong place.
and the track is Right People.
Whoa, I actually, not a bit. I didn't even realize that. That is really cool.
It is so cool. And this whole time he's just chanting Right People in Wrong Place, which is the name of the album. Which just like, it fucks with the mind a little bit. But anyways, let's start off. What do you guys think of this intro track?
I think it's a sick intro to an
so
album.
freaking sick.
Like super interesting. I mean, my ear was always drawn to like the sonic things in the production. And there's just like so much interesting stuff going on. The like filtered drum thing at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
I was like sitting there for a second trying to figure out like what that is. Like it's super stereo. It's like super high cut with like some resonance or something. And yeah, I don't know, like that, I thought that sounded so sick, and then the way it all just like evolves through this cool like soundscape. Yeah.
Even like telling. With the very beginning, they start off with that more electric pew 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 pew, like, you know, laser-esque sound, and the fact that like it's panning right and left, and you're like, whoa, we're floating, and then it all like comes nice and center and really grounds the track. I also love, like Will was saying, the synth texture changes throughout, but I think what also my main focus was the lyrics. I don't know if either of you guys paid very close attention to them, but it's right people in wrong place, repeats that, right, wrong people in wrong place, right people in wrong place. And it's just continuously evolving, which is cool because the lyrics evolve while the track evolves.
Yeah.
And it's just like someone just trying to figure out maybe who they are, where they belong, who they belong with. Yeah. It's just like forever wandering.
It's very hypnotic in a way.
Yes.
And especially with the way that it kind of plays with chromaticism in the bass, where it's like E to F, and then like, what was it, A to B flat, and then it just all is very like trance-like. And then also like this album really does feel like an odyssey of sorts. And so having this kind of like really big intro kind of sets the stage really nicely for me.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to talk about, there were some moments in which I felt there might have been some text painting. So if you jump to 45 seconds in for this song.
All right.
Do you hear that? It's like a door knocking.
Whoa.
Like
at 45 seconds in. It's like panned left if you're listening with headphones.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
And to me, it makes me wonder if this was, because he's also shouting in the background, like, fuck out of my sight, shit, or like, and also some inaudible stuff. So that makes me wonder if he's trying to enter somewhere or somewhere is trying to enter his space. And also like the fact that it's just like out of tempo, maybe it's that knocking that doesn't belong, you know, it's like in the wrong place. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Word.
It could be placed as like a literal like thing, and in the an idea in the form of like a literal thing, which would be really really cool.
Yeah. When they start off with all this electronic instrumentation and then the set comes in, right?
Yeah.
I think it comes in around 57 seconds in, and it just, it's so laid
Super
back and
fat
groovy.
groove.
Yes. And it hits so hard because they always make sure to have some sort of like, varied texture before the full set comes in. For example, the beginning is electronic, then the full set comes in. Then they move to just hi-hat, so we have just like higher frequencies, and then the full set comes back in. And then last but not least, the final lyrics are feeling high on a forest fire, which it's kind of weird to be feeling high or happy on something that's so destructive, right? What? So like feeling high, happy, chill, a forest fire, it's raging, it's dangerous. And so that's the like wrong, there's something's wrong about this, even though you are feeling happy. Yeah.
It also like makes you question why that line in a song that's kind of like setting the stage about like right place, wrong person, or right people, wrong place.
Yeah.
One of the two. It's one of the two. But why make that kind of like your closing line? Because that's kind of like makes me feel like it's the thesis for the next 10 songs that are about to happen. So what is the feeling of being high on a forest fire? Like why put that there? What like why what is that?
Oh, I wonder, since so many of the following songs are messages to his haters, I wonder if he's talking about them feeling high on the forest fire. Like, for example, if he makes them as quote unquote mistake. For example, in a later song, he talks directly about an event where he posted a photo of him smoking on Instagram. And that just like absolutely burst into chaos. Fans are saying, oh, we're disappointed in you. We looked up to you.
Yeah.
How dare you? Your image is ruined. And maybe he's talking about like, you're feeling higher on this forest fire or something. Maybe. I don't know.
What if he's just like burning trees, you know, just like smoking weed in the basement?
Yeah, he's actually feeling high on a forest fire.
Yeah.
Just like
or he's in the
like
forest
smoking
and
trees.
he's just like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's just having a good time.
Or it's like a very
Arson.
tall forest and he's feeling high
Oh,
in that
he's, like,
forest.
flying.
Yeah. Like he's very high off the ground
Yeah, is
in a
this
forest.
metaphorical or literal?
Yeah. What's the punctuation?
I'm pretty sure he sings a comma actually.
Feeling high, comma,
Oh, you
forest.
didn't hear the semicolon in there?
Yeah. This pause clearly as you can see.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right, are we ready to move on to Nuts?
Nuts.
This is my favorite track off the album.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you guys have a ranking?
I do have a ranking.
Okay, cool. Ooh, I was kind of expecting one of you to say same.
Nuts is
No.
not in my top 3 actually.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. I actually have probably more like notes on this track of things that I liked than any other track actually. Or just things that I thought were like interesting.
Yeah, just because we have more to say about something doesn't always mean it's our favorite.
Yeah.
I will say that my number one changed depending on what mood, depending how I was listening to each song, like whether it was on speakers or headphones.
I agree.
Because if it's on speakers, I like the one with Moses the best.
Oh, Around the World?
Yeah, Around the World. But with headphones on, 100% Nuts. Just because of like all the different textures and feel changes. But Will, do you want to go off since you have a lot of notes for this?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, one of the this is like really kind of random and like low key in the production, but there's like a kind of reversed like delay reverb on the snare in the drums, and like
Yes, that's what I was gonna guess.
I like love that.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
like so interesting and creative. Yeah, like the snare hits, like it like flutters, and I heard that and I was like, that is so cool. Like it just adds a really, really cool dimension to the groove, because like the feel of the drum part is like sick already, but then you have that little reversed like reverb. I'm a big fan of reversed sounds in general. And yeah, I just thought that like sounded really cool. I actually tried to like kind of recreate it this morning because I was like, I wonder if I can like figure out how to do that.
Did you succeed?
I found I got pretty close with Valhalla Supermassive.
Did you reverse that sound or chop in and reverse it?
Well, no, actually, like in Supermassive, there's like a delay function, and then there's like a like what is it called? It's like warp mode or something. Like it just messes with it, and like you can actually kind of like there's some presets in there that are like reversed, like snare or whatever. And so I kind of found one of the like reverse presets and just kind of messed with like the warping and the delay thing to get it to be like pretty similar.
That's so
kind of
sick.
timing, and it was like kind of close. So I think it's possible that they actually did like use that plugin.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. There's probably a million ways to accomplish the same thing, but
yeah. There's an effects pedal that I really want that like does that exact, or that has that exact function. It's like hologram. I don't know what the company's called, but it just like the way it like, because I think it's designed to like make pads and like mess with them. But one of the things you can do is like warp and sequence like what each like where you can chop up like where the warp happens, so it'll just like digitize whatever your waveform is, and it just sounds really, really sick.
Word.
But yeah,
Such a cool sound.
super cool sound.
And that bass sounds too. Love the sound of the bass in this song.
Oh yeah, with the wah.
Ooh. Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
with the wah. And then the hand drums. Are you going to talk about those?
Ooh, I
The
didn't
hand
actually make
percussion?
a note about the hand drums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels so human, you know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then combined
You know?
with like the glass sounds in the back when the
Oh, I missed the glass sounds.
oh, it's in
Let's hear this again.
Yes,
I want to like I want to
let's
listen
go,
to it
let's
again
go.
and focus on listening for like some of that percussion.
Is that a sit?
it's like
Not
a
sure.
effect.
There's a couple sounds on this album where I'm like, I can't tell if that's a synth or a guitar because it's just so distortive. It's like,
Just gives analog still.
yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
I think this one is a synth.
The shaker.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then, is this the glass sound?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
like
thought it was
the-
a triangle.
I don't think it's a triangle because it's
Okay.
not like tingy enough.
Oh.
But also, I don't know,
Yeah, yeah.
because wouldn't a triangle have a little bit longer release?
It would. Yeah, it's very like kind of muted. It definitely
Yeah.
sounds like just tapping.
Yeah,
like,
that's
a
why I
glass
thought it
or
was like
something.
glass, because
Yeah.
because also like it sounds really like brittle, you know?
Yeah. That was something else too that I noticed. Like the transition sound design in this
Oh my
song is
gosh,
crazy. Like
crazy.
that one moment right there, there's like this cool like reverby swell. That's,
Yeah.
and then there's also these like little guitar things.
I gotta talk about
and
this
then some
guitar
of them
thing.
go like really out too. Like there's some out.
That note is insane.
Yeah.
And then at this moment, is it the first time that we're getting like a little?
Yeah.
Because it feels so much faster than before, even though there's
Yeah.
no tempo change.
Well, I think what happens is that they just like take out all of the normal tempoed instrument, or all the
Yeah.
normal tempoed percussion instrumentation, and just leave the double time ones, which I think is the hand drums
Yeah.
and the shaker and the
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah.
So good.
So you're not grounded in the like
Yeah.
slower backbeat.
Yeah.
You just hear that like,
Exactly.
faster subdivision.
And then this is the most halftime we've ever felt because
Yeah.
the lyrics slow down
Yeah.
rhythmically.
Yeah. That switch is crazy.
And this is when he talks about being seen as a monster, which is so
Oh.
cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
So many
sick.
like text painting moments in
that's
this
awesome.
song.
Yeah.
This is out. Like
And that's a lament bass, right? Because it's like 1 7 flat 6 5.
Well, it's
or is it close?
It's kind of like lament bass, but in
Okay.
harmonic minor.
Oh, right. Dang.
Yeah.
Descending tetrachord will just
Descending tetrachord.
generalize it.
I got like I got like goosebumps hearing tetrachord, the word tetrachord. Just I was like, oh my, I haven't heard that word in like
Wait,
forever.
good goosebumps or bad? Like you're traumatized?
I don't know, but they're there.
Like, oh shit, I gotta like fight or flight has been activated.
Do I
The
have a theory
tetrachord
exam tomorrow
behind
morning?
you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. Just like the amount of different production techniques, the fact that almost everything is a little bit detuned, right?
Oh,
I
is it?
think
I actually didn't know.
For me, I mean, when I held up my metronome to it, a lot of it didn't quite line up. Like I have like the tone generator thing.
Yeah, and I think honestly throughout he like they kind of mess with like tuning a lot in this record, which I think is really cool because it doesn't really have a lot of like tonality like closure in the tonality. So especially, I guess not as much this one because it doesn't really follow like a ton of chord progressions, rather a lot of like loops and stuff like that, and like little motives.
Ostinatos.
Austin. We're throwing all of the
I'm pulling you
vocabulary
guys
out there.
back.
Goodness gracious. But it's funny because there's a lot of kind of like unresolved chord progressions within the record. And so you feel very melodically, I want to say unsatisfied implies that you're not happy with the outcome, but there's a lot of there isn't a lot of resolutions, both harmonically and melodically and tonally, which is so interesting that all three of them would be talked about or would be kind of addressed within this record.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious lyrically. This says, I could make this right place for you. Is this a lyrical reply to the first track? Because that person, they don't know if they're the right place or the wrong person, or the wrong place, the right person. And this is like, I will make this the right place for you. I don't know. And then more about lyrics, the part where the guitar goes A, G, and then it ends on like, it's between an F sharp and an F. His lyrics are, I go nuts. You're like a monster now, freaking you, freaking me. And so we have that detuned, like unresolved melodic line coming in the guitar while he's talking about this monster. And I just think that's so damn cool. And then he even says like lay back, and that's when the reverb comes in. That's when the vocal rhythms go slower.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's so sick.
So many text painting moments. And then, I loved just like, once again, there's the detuned C, B, A flat, G, which is the almost lament bass.
I think that line is so sick too, because the entire song is basically in this kind of like G minor, B flat land. And so we're able to kind of build up into that second section with the build, and it feels like satisfying because we've lived in that space for like the ample amount of time, but also the switch up feels deserved and not kind of jarring because we had that kind of that dynamic contrast in that like build. And I like how also like all hell breaks loose because of that A flat in the third section, like the bum, 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 like I think that was the last thing I would have expected from that sound, because usually after your dynamic climax comes like a release into a song ending. The last thing that you would kind of think about is something completely different, because usually your emotional climax is where the signifier of, okay, this is going to be the end of the idea, or the end of the idea is coming up, rather than, oh, here's a brand new idea.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's just a lot of, the way he plays with arrangement in this song is really cool, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, 100%. Were there more things that you wanted to talk about with the production or arrangement, Will?
Not really. I don't know. I was really into like all the things that we kind of heard and talked about at the end, like that just made it sound like so. It was like very. I wrote down trippy and eerie.
Yes.
That last part of the song, which actually I didn't even catch the lyric, the monster thing in the lyric.
That's so sick.
But I was like, I'm feeling these like eerie, like kind of spooky vibes, and the fact that the lyric is about him like being a monster,
or like someone
like, that's
else
just,
being a
or someone, exactly. That perfectly creates that energy. Also I love, I mean, you kind of mentioned the same thing, the really dramatic shift in the song.
Totally,
towards the end there's like 2 like dramatic changes, like kind of really pretty quickly, but they don't feel super jarring. Because there's like enough consistency between the vibe and like the layers and in the drums and the consistency and the harmony. Like things are changing slightly in each way, but as a whole it creates this like dramatically different section, but it doesn't feel like as a listener you're being like thrown around into something that just feels totally unexpected. Like it feels expected but also really unexpected at the same time.
Totally.
Which is like really fantastic that they were able to pull that off so well.
100%.
Agree.
And that the very final synth we're left with, like at this point we're fully electronic. I believe the acoustic like hand drums and set are out, and so that just like further pushes that kind of like uneasy feeling since everything is electronic. And the you know, that little right there, I locked it into my tone generator and it just sounded like wee wee wee, and I'm like, oh, kind of like alien version of a siren. Which is so cool because I believe those tones, I can't remember if I locked into the bass line. I might have. I tried to listen to the bass line and I thought it was B flat G D flat.
What did I
Does anyone want to fact check me on that?
Are you saying at that
like
bass?
at the very end?
Oh,
the bass at the very
I didn't like
end.
transcribe exactly
not
those
because I don't know if you guys noticed how smooth the transition is.
No,
from nuts to and I was like, it must be the bass line.
Out.
It's got to be.
Yeah, but I did catch the beginning of Out of Loves is an A to a B flat.
Okay.
So.
Like I can't quite tell what the bass note is playing at the end of Nuts.
Yeah, it's like.
It kind of sounds like an F.
That's
and then it just.
Wait, go back. Well, whatever it is, there's a lot of consistency there. I actually noted that I love the transition between those 2 tracks because it was like it just works so perfect. It's like very seamless, but not like it's not perfectly seamless. Like it's a new song, but there's enough consistency. It almost sounds like 5-1.
Yeah.
Like
literally.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because
the tone is pretty similar.
Yeah.
And the bass.
Textures.
It almost sounds like to me that ba 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 ba, but like up like a lot. It would be a B flat. Yeah, B flat and a G. I think.
Okay.
So I think you were right on that. Over an F.
Over an F?
Yeah, I got a bum 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 bum.
Okay,
but
cool.
like way down.
Yeah, and it just beautifully transitions to Out of Love. What do you guys think of Out of Love? Your life is out of love.
I love the distortion in the song.
Oh yeah.
The like super crunchy drums.
The hats
like,
in this song.
Dude, they sound crazy. I love the sound of like, you know, like when the kick drum hits and the hat also hits at the same time.
Yeah,
and it just goes
yeah.
like it just sounds like like just it's awesome.
Literally.
I don't know. I think it's so sick. And then the vocal production too. Like it sounds like there's that stack. What is the like? I forget what that lyric and that phrase is. That like kind of repeats a little bit.
My life is out of love.
Yeah,
that
one.
one.
I
don't. It's
and
something
there's like
out of love.
Bunch of layers. There's like a bunch of layers in there, and it sounds like a couple of them are like formatted up a little bit, and they're all like very distorted.
Yeah.
And it's just like a crazy vibe. It sounds
so
really sick.
It really is. Yeah, I'm also obsessed with like the bass overdrive or distortion. And then I feel like 30 seconds in, it represents the frustration of not being able to fit in. Also, I think before 30 seconds, some sax moments come in.
Yeah.
And RM has been playing the saxophone. There's a clip recently
This
of
is
he
all
went
him?
viral. I don't know. I'm wondering if fans have the physical album and can look at the credits and the instrumentation. Does it list RM as a saxophone player? Because he's been practicing tenor.
I'm pretty sure it's tenor in here, actually. I mean, I have to like check again. And,
Yeah.
and, like,
So
think
I'm
about it, but
very curious.
yeah.
Cause like, yeah, and I love how many different sounds they create on the saxophone. Cause right, they use the more honking sounds, and they also use the more breathy, like
Yeah.
kind of whispery. I thought it was a flute at first.
Yeah.
It's
No,
just
there's
so
like
beautifully
times where I
used.
like honestly wasn't sure what the woodwind instrument
Yeah.
was, or I thought that it was like a sample,
Yeah.
and I was just thinking, wow, what in the world is this sound?
Yeah,
So
that's my favorite kind of music. When
that's
you're like,
so sick.
how
Yeah.
did they make this? What is this? I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's
Literally,
this. It's so fun. Could you skip to 30 seconds in for me?
Yes.
Please, thank you.
See what they got them where I've been living for my whole life. Smoking kills, I know it's my fucking business. You bitches, stop, don't talk shit.
Okay, so if you pause it, the reason why I wanted to talk about, he's talking about not fitting in, and this sax part is like, at like random parts, and so that had me wonder if that's like the oral representation of something that doesn't quite fit in. I don't know. Just my theory.
That
But yeah.
could be. I could see it being that.
But this is the song that I was talking about earlier, where he posted a picture of himself smoking and he had to delete it. And he's like, yeah, I know smoking kills.
Did he delete it? Really?
Yeah, because there was so much
Wow.
backlash. So much.
That
Like
is
everything
crazy.
exploded. And he talked, the lyrics are something like they made like so much exaggeration out of his own life. Like they think they know him, they think they can control what he does, like, you know, just like, you know, the life of being a prominent figure on social media. And it was just, I really do enjoy the lyrics for this track. What else? Oh yeah. The rest of my notes are just pointing out various moments that I think sound cool, like 50 seconds in.
Of the fucking biz.
Yeah.
And then it's so dissonant.
It's so dissonant.
There was I did make a note of like the sax stuff in the background is like so out sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's like very cool.
It's crazy because within this like this kind of like really like, I don't want to say cacophonic, but just nothing really like seems to. So musically, I got that it was a pedal tones between an A and a G.
Okay.
Over like the sax or whatever instrument is on top, tonicizing B major to D minor, like
Oh.
or that's, I think that's
Something like
like
that.
right, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because hearing that B flat in the line over an A in the bass, the like it just like creates like really like just like this motion, like it doesn't really like fit. They're like they're
tension.
Yeah, it's super tense, and it almost feels like as you're listening to it, you really aren't. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Like it doesn't really make a lot of musical sense, and so once this moment where it all stops, it feels like release, but in a almost like in a mysterious way, like an unsatisfied way. So just because it's over and you don't have to like think about the tension anymore, which is so interesting. So interesting. Now I go to Domodachi.
yeah.
Which is it top 3 for you? Any of you?
This is top 3 for me.
Did you guys, like, the second the bass clarinet starts, did you know what the beat was?
No. In
I
fact,
didn't-
okay, I really want this song to be in 7, actually. I think it would go so hard in 7. And part of me now wants to like take that sample and just like re-sample it and then make a beat out of it that is
That
in
would
7.
be so
like,
insane.
Like play it because when I first heard it I was like, yo, is this in odd meter? That's so sick. But then it wasn't. It actually lines up in 4. But so it's like it if it like you know what I mean. 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, that would be so sick.
Yeah. So like that was when I like my very first thought was like, oh, this is like gonna be sick in 7. But then it was like actually in 4. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool too.
Hey, if you guys want to do a cover of Domodachi in 7.
Oh, jeez.
I'm pretty down.
That'd be so sick.
Let's go. Okay, my mic is dead. I don't know for how long. Hold up. Pause. Wait, do you guys want to talk about Domodachi while I...
Sure.
We could. I mean, I also don't want to like
Do it!
make. I don't know. I feel like if there's a conversation that starts to happen, and then you want to say something, and your mic is not
I'll
working, and
shout.
you're actively putting batteries in it, it would be ideal.
Yeah, you'll grab the arm and be like,
yeah.
this is,
Go ahead.
say.
I don't know. My very first note is we need more bass clarinet in hip hop.
Yes!
That was what I wrote down first. I was just like, this is such a sick vibe.
It's
This
such a
has
sick
to like
vibe.
more people have to do this now. Like,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah. I honestly, like, I thought it was, I think I gave like 3 guesses in my notes on what this was, because I thought it was a bassoon, and I was like, no, this isn't a bassoon. I was like, okay, so is this like a bass sax? No, this couldn't be a bass sax. And then I thought it was like a clarinet, but like a warped clarinet, because the sound, like the actual, there's like a little bit of formant I think used on it. So I was like, is this just like a really formanted clarinet? But it still sounds like too like the sound itself is just too fat to be a clarinet, I think.
Yeah, like those
Yeah.
low like
Yeah,
fundamental
exactly,
harmonics
exactly.
are like really strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I had the same thought too. I was like, because my first thought was like, I think it's a bass clarinet, but then I was like, wait, is it a bassoon, or is it something else? Like, because it's honestly so hard to tell sometimes.
So hard to tell. Yeah.
Hashtag vocalist life and
Pretty sure it is.
brass-
Yeah.
jazz brass
Jazz
player
brass.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So absolutely awesome. The feel of the song is everything.
Yeah.
The different subdivisions, halftime, instrumentation, like it's forever developing.
Yeah.
I feel like nothing, when material is repeated in the vocals, there's always something a little bit different, I feel like,
Yeah.
happening.
And I just feel like it's so I think this song is probably the most disorienting song on the entire record, because so many ideas, both rhythmically and especially harmonically, good lord, but so many ideas are kind of being thrown at you, and it's different. Every single instrument kind of gets isolated. Like it's like first is the bass clarinet, then it's the guitar, and then it's the bass. Like each of them like get like their solo, and each of them have a totally different because I almost call it bassoon, but it, like the main
Canceled.
line is like a I said it was a G and an F sharp, but it's not really like that. The tuning is so weird that it's like in between. So which is that, and then the guitar is basically outlining. It's a D F E G D F E A. Those notes in alternation.
Is this the like
yeah,
that part?
Yeah. Which, hearing that, going from a G to an F sharp chromatic line, and then hearing the F natural as a central part of what you're tonicizing, made me like fall out of my chair. I was like, I don't understand how, like, where we are at all melodically, because once the bass comes in, that's when you kind of realize, oh, okay, like we're in some kind of G minor land. But going from and it makes a little bit more sense because once you see that the G and the F sharp is kind of, rather than messing with the key, it's more so messing with natural versus harmonic minors and how it kind of plays around that harmonically, or at least that's how like I'm kind of trying to make sense of it in my head. The thing then though is why, because the guitar line is clearly like D minor land. So then if you say, oh, we're in G minor, then that E natural becomes like weird. So there's like some way to contextualize all the pieces together, where you can say, oh, okay, we end up in G minor and that's fine, while also saying that everything that came before it can conveniently and snugly fit around each piece of the like all their accidentals will make sense in context and it'll be great.
Whoa.
But also maybe it doesn't. Obviously, like it doesn't need that, but for my brain that likes to categorize what I listen to, that's just how I was trying to understand what was going on, because I was just completely lost. I think I listened to this song like the first half of the song probably the most out of anything on the record.
Wow.
Because I was trying to figure out how to start listening to this, or like when you start listening, how to immediately be like, oh, okay, this is what key we're in. This is like what we're starting on.
Ground yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was very long, but
that's
like
so cool that like I haven't even paid any analytical attention to it harmonically or melodically. I've just this entire time have been like, oh, here's when the groove switches. Oh, here's when the groove switches. The groove switches here, and I was singing. You know, like that's so cool having your take on that.
Man, I didn't really like consciously notice any like harmonic weirdness in this song, honestly. Now I'm really curious. I want to play through a little bit of it and check out some of those moments that you were talking about and see.
Also, this drum beat is just bananas.
Motherfuckers want a big grown. Motherfuckers need a good patrol. I've been sucking for a kind of bullshit. EJ Johnson, not chosen. Also, just want to get it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just like
I'm gonna lead you to the heaven.
somehow it just does, like the way it transitions is just like is fine, like it just makes sense.
I think
It
maybe
works.
because it's different instrumental textures that you're like, oh, the texture changed, not necessarily it melodically changed.
Yeah.
Now
and
it feels like there we're back to the same tonality as the beginning, I think.
Oh!
Yeah. Like this is what comes after that guitar is definitely because that's like that.
Yeah.
This makes you realize like, okay, now we're in like purely G. Like this is a song in G.
Yeah, I love this melody too.
Oh yeah.
And that like shrillness of the octave up.
Yeah.
And then the clarinet and
Yeah.
the sax. Oh,
Yeah.
it just like.
And then
And
we
then-
get this transition into the like kind of double time like
Yeah.
drum groove, and then that next like rap verse. That was one of my favorite moments in I mean, for sure in the song, but definitely stand
Yeah.
out in the whole album, honestly. Like,
And is it just me, or do you guys
When
hear
does
like
that next verse
vocal
happen?
percussion?
oh,
Because I hear like. Okay.
this.
Phil Sims.
Lil Sims, so good.
Yeah, everything's switched electronically, so it just sounds sharper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Higher
and then the
frequencies.
initial bass clarinet sample comes in a second here.
Yes.
And I was
it's-
like, yo, that's awesome. wow, in with the guitar also.
Yeah,
And it's the
exactly.
same notes in the guitar.
And that's why like I'm like, okay, how does it like snugly like match together when at the beginning of the song when they were isolated, it literally made no sense to me. So I just was like trying to adjust my hearing to like how it could possibly like why it like just didn't make any sense at the beginning, and now when layered together it just like, oh, like of course this works. What an interesting experience.
Dude, because in the bass clarinet part, and it goes da da do da 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 da, flat 6 to 5.
Yeah.
Da da, and then the guitar is going da 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 da.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but they don't conflict ever. So it's like it's changing from, like, I mean, I guess it's modal mixture. It's like it's changing from a natural minor to a like Dorian, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's almost like it's implying like some kind of harmony that is like moving it just slightly out of the key between that flat 6 and the natural 6.
Yeah.
But it feels like completely justified to me because it doesn't conflict. Like it's a natural motion between the two.
Yeah.
And there's never like a they don't hit at the same time.
Yeah.
And, so
and like how they're like
conflict.
placed.
Yeah.
And that even goes for like the F sharp to the F natural, and then the E flat and the E natural. Like having two notes with accidentals that you have to kind of juggle and place in different times is so. I just don't know how they wrote those lines then to like, or how they came up with that idea. Like that just feels so genuinely clever.
Totally. And it feels like an idea that you don't arrive at by thinking about the theory of it.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it feels like an idea that somebody in the studio was just like, yo, what about this guitar part? And just like was just hearing it, just not even thinking about the notes and how it, but it just works because they're just so tuned into the vibe of the song and what they're hearing out of the music. And I freaking love that.
I think that's so sick too.
That's honestly something that I've felt through this entire album. Like there's a lot of really, really colorful harmony and melodic moments that are really like chromatic, like using multiple key centers, but there's never a moment where I'm like, oh, that sounds wrong. Like I definitely, like, I do that.
Yep, he does that. Now I'm the one having traumatic flashbacks. There have been
many times where I'm reacting to a K-pop song and I'm like, bro, you can't use the major third on this like minor chord. Like, what are you doing?
I think but
this one is like they're using all of those weird tonalities, minor, major, switching key centers, whatever, and the melody and all of the layers are matching perfectly every time. That is like so sick.
Yeah, I think I agree with you that it's all like in the that everything is like very like on the like spur of the moment. But I also think there's an element of they like it's so specifically like nothing clashes with each other that I feel like there was got to be a moment where like they played like one thing and they were like, what if you played it with just like this one note? Like all the original ideas are still there, but it's just like small little alterations, and then they like do another take where like just one note is like different, or at least that something along those lines.
Yeah, they're like tweaking things a lot.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. But like
I
it's still
for
like
sure not be surprised about that.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then bringing it back to the textures. So I mentioned earlier that I thought I heard vocal percussion. And have you guys seen the Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah.
You know, the
the ending.
The ending OST. I hear that type of. I have no idea if it actually is there, but with headphones on, you hear this kind of like
mouth click way, or
kind
like
of like that kind of stuff.
I didn't catch that.
There's moments throughout this song where like something in the background just like comes to the forefront. For example, like towards the end of the da 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 da, you hear the clarinet do 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 do, and it was like there the entire time. And so there's moments when some vocal like humming texture or just like vocal layers, breathy, percussive stuff comes out, and I really, really like those small little details. Oh. Just so good.
So good.
good.
Yeah, I think I've talked myself into this being my favorite song because
This,
I don't
yeah,
think
now
I've
I'm like,
thought
this
about,
might be number 2.
I am. Yeah. This one I didn't put it in my top 3, but it's like it for sure deserves an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super sick.
Oh, I'm
Bass
so
clarinet,
excited.
man.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying like
Yeah,
bass
bass
clarinet,
clarinet.
bass clarinet in hip hop.
Yes. We
Bass
need more
clarinet
of
and
that.
hip-hop.
Make it happen.
I'm
Make it
keeping my
happen.
fingers crossed. My management said that they're going to try and get one of the co-producers for this track for me to interview.
Oh,
So I'm going to keep my
that
fingers
was
crossed and
so
we'll be able to ask
sick.
him all the things.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
yeah.
guys
my
have.
goodness, that would be
Let's
crazy.
manifest that. It's because my
Absolutely.
manager is a huge fan of him, so he's like, can you interview him and can I be your
Yeah.
translator? I'm like, you're my manager, dude. Yeah, I'm like, sure. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's so funny.
really hoping. I think Domodachi's my number 2, while as there's the 2 tracks that are tied for number 1.
Yeah.
But this interlude though, it's up there.
Yeah.
It is up there and amazing. I just said my main comment, I think I only have like 1 bullet point for this, and it's just jazz musicians doing jazz musician things.
Honestly, same. I really didn't analyze much of the harmony or the
I was like, that's
melodies.
Will's job.
I'll do it. I was playing along to it a little bit earlier. I didn't actually transcribe all of the chords. Maybe I should have like gone in.
You've
and,
done like
and,
a lot
detailed.
of hands-on like
Yeah.
interaction with this album.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It was like literally all this morning. I was
Okay.
I was like listening to it for like the last time and like making notes and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, no, I kind of want to just
Yeah.
like play along
Yeah.
this and see
Let
what
me
it
just
is.
like jam along. Yeah.
This song is my number 2 actually
Let's go.
on my list for me. I just like
jazz.
I don't know. The Domi JD Beck vibe.
I cannot
is so
believe
sick.
that
That's a
Domi
sick
JD
collab.
It's
like
so
such a sick collab.
insane.
And yeah, I'm a jazz guy. What can I say?
Yeah.
I like cool chords. I like
Yeah.
those beats.
Yeah. And the bass lines. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Simply. Yeah, I said I love the amount of snare rim that we get.
Yeah.
So that's like the higher pitch, more woody, more metally sound in the percussion. Is it the Nord that we have for this song?
I'm not totally sure. It
Can we-
could be. I know Domi plays a Nord a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you never know when it's like a studio produced thing. We
Yeah.
could like listen.
Yeah, real quick.
But also like I don't know, the thing about the Nord that's kind of funny is like the Nord as a keyboard is
a
designed
question
basically to
mark.
be able to replicate as many other keyboards and synths as possible. Like it
Ah.
itself doesn't have that much of like a this is a characteristic Nord sound. It's like the Nord is just kind of trying to replicate like a Rhodes
Yeah.
and then also a Wurlitzer and then also like an
Mm.
analog synth and also an organ, you know, just has like all of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Should we play a little bit of it
Let's
and
go.
see?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Snare rim, snare rim. Woo. The bass.
The bass.
Subtle like key change right there.
Yeah.
Ah, I didn't even notice it until now.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's like everything shifted up like a half step or like
It's
the
like,
same
yeah.
ideas kind of.
Oh, that fell right there.
Yeah. Also, this part is crazy. That like,
Is that like a pan
and then it
flute?
repeats again.
Giving pan flute vibes.
Yeah, it could be.
And then just like the drum kit just
Yeah.
going off.
Oh yeah, it's like so crazy. They're all over that like major to minor tonality shift.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so good.
What goes around comes around. It goes around. Comes around.
Oh. sick.
Let's play part of it, and we play the
Oh,
entire
oops.
song.
Yeah. It's only like 2 minutes. It's
Yeah.
But okay, so my biggest question is why? Because
Why?
to me, this seems like purely a Domi and JD Beck song with RM kind of like on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is why them in this whole record, even though there's a lot of genres, there's a lot of tonalities, there's a lot of everything. To me, this feels like the biggest, I don't want to say outlier, but it feels like the most, it just feels to me so much like this is a Domi and JD Beck song.
Oh.
Whereas every other song feels like an RM song. Does that make
Interesting.
sense?
Well, as someone who's never
Yeah.
heard of their work before, I thought it felt in fine, or it fit in fine. I was just like, okay, like we have like jazz elements throughout, we've had acoustic elements throughout, and this is
Yeah.
just like a full-on let the musicians do their thing and let RM speak some deep stuff over it, and it's like
Totally,
just
yeah.
a little. But maybe that's why there's a question mark.
I also think that's probably because might be because I love Domi and JD Beck.
Yeah.
And I
You're
just like when I hear their work, I can recognize
It's very recognizable.
it's very
for sure.
recognizable.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Yeah.
That's
Although
probably
I
why.
will say my first listen through the album, I listened to it while driving, and I wasn't like super focused intently like listening to it the first time. I was just like, I'm just gonna listen and like enjoy it, you know. I didn't actually note it, like I didn't hear that and be like, oh, that sounds like Domi and JD Beck, not Jomi and Dady. But and I remember like after, and I wasn't looking at any of the like song titles or features or anything.
Yeah.
And afterwards I like looked through like the titles and the features, and I was like, wait, there's a Domi and JD Beck song on here? How did I not notice that? And then I played it again, and I was like, obviously this is Domi and JD Beck.
Yeah,
It sounds
yeah.
exactly like them. But when I wasn't like paying attention to
Yeah.
it and just listening and enjoying the album, you know, just straight through, I didn't feel like it didn't feel dramatically out of place. It didn't feel like super different.
honestly that's good to because I was one of those that like saw the track list and the name and like all the feature list first. So I saw that Domi and JD Beck were going to be on a song, and I was like, what? how like what?
Wait, can you guys give us some background on Domi and JD Beck for like why this is so shocking? Do they typically not do collabs, or
well, I mean, they do collabs. I don't know like a ton about them. I really love that song with Anderson .Paak.
Yeah.
And
I mean, RM collabed with Anderson .Paak in his last album,
okay,
so
yeah.
maybe it was just he's
yeah.
in that circle.
yeah,
could
they're
s-
definitely in a similar space.
I think
But Domi's definitely like they're definitely more jazz, jazz, neo soul, R&B,
Yeah.
jazz, like I don't know, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Um,
I think they're the closest that like purely like harmonic jazz has gotten to being like mainstream, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
especially seeing like their like the popularity that of them like within like music circles that otherwise wouldn't really pay attention to a lot of like jazz artists that would thumb their nose at Jacob Collier or like other like people. Like they like I think Domi and JD Beck kind of have this like respect from certain circles that otherwise wouldn't really listen to a lot of jazz at least in my experience, which I think is really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, RM throughout his entire career has featured artists that are not necessarily in the mainstream. He's
Yeah.
featured lots of underrated artists that he just loves their sound.
Yeah.
But I am a little bit sad because this album was released during his military enlistment, so we didn't get a ton of interviews from him talking about like why the songs were chosen or how they were made. So I
Yeah.
am looking forward to that if that ever happens. And maybe we can get it like, oh yeah, like I ran into them at a party and we were like, oh, we should do something together.
Yeah.
Like you should just produce something and I'll just, say some things over, or something like that. I am curious. That's so cool though.
No, yeah, it's super sick.
So sick.
So sick.
Now, Groin. So this is up there on Sam's list.
Groin is on my list. Groin is I put it in as number 3.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Is Groin on all of our top 3s?
Nope.
You didn't put Groin on.
It's like number 6 for me.
Wow, you didn't like
Whoa,
it?
it's
Convince
not
me.
your-
No, I think I
Or
like
right.
every single song on
Yeah.
this album. This one wasn't up there. I think this one is the most hip hop out of all of them, perhaps, and also not quite as dynamic, if I remember correctly. You guys can convince me otherwise,
Yeah.
though. I'm totally down to be convinced otherwise.
Yeah.
It definitely is probably, in terms of like conventional like strophic songs, it probably is the closest. Actually, no, Heaven too, but those two songs are probably the closest to like having like traditional arrangements, I would say.
Except for the intro of Groin.
Except for,
intro!
yeah.
Which, okay, for
I thought
me,
was the interlude.
So when I listened to the album without looking at or seeing the tracks go by at all, and that happened, and I was like, oh, surely that is like a little interlude, or that was like an outro of the previous song or something, and then this is the actual beginning of the next song.
Yeah.
But but then the other thing was, like, as soon as that first like chord progression started playing and that little vocal loop, I was like, yo, this is sick. I can't wait for this like beat to drop, and then this next song is like, this is gonna be awesome, and then it stops, and then it does something different. And I was like, but then the next thing is also super sick, so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not really that mad at it, but also I really want that song though too.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't become a song. I'm like, it deserves to become a song.
Yeah,
That chord loop's
no, that
too
was
good.
so cool. And I wonder if that's just lending to the fact that the interlude is a question mark, because at this start of Groin, you're like, wait, that wasn't the interlude? And then it's just like, what's going on? But it is such a cool intro, and really makes you think if you know what song is playing at that moment. But like how it does connect with the material to follow. I think it's the same tempo, but like that's the only thing that like it has in common.
Yeah. It is pretty different.
I manually tapped along, so not
Oh, and it was
100%
about 10.
sure.
Okay, yeah.
I did not put a metronome to it.
I didn't look at the tempo. I did listen to it and try and think about, like, okay, is there some kind of harmonic thing that they're pulling from this, or maybe that little vocal melody, like. Like, is there something from that is somehow referenced later? And I couldn't like really find anything like very, at least explicitly. There was one part where there's kind of a harmony that is somewhat similar, but not similar enough that it feels to me like it was an intentional, like, oh, we're gonna like reference this, or that beginning was somehow derived from that. It maybe could be in some way, but
it definitely feels
it would
like
be pretty
two,
far separated.
like two ideas in a way.
So cool. So why is this so high on your list, boys? Silence.
I liked it.
What did you like about it?
I mean, it's a fat groove. I think the hook of this is like really catchy too.
Get your ass on the truck. Get your ass on the truck.
Wait, like,
Yeah, this chord progression is so good.
I thought you guys would like the chord progression.
like, this needs to just be a
Literally.
I don't know. Like, I want to make that beat.
Yo, 세상에 재수 없는 세기가 많아. 어쩌라고 뭐 같은 길이나 가라. 세상엔 알 수 없는 세기가 많아.
I guess I was thinking of that melody, actually, that very first, like, the way that, I guess, it's not the hook, it's the verse, but it's like, that is like really nice. Like immediately just like hooks you in. I'm like, this is cool. And then the
So while
groove,
you were
like the
upset
swing
that
of the
the
groove.
fast thing
Exactly.
ended, then you're
So
like, oh no, I'm okay
that
with
was
this.
exactly my thought process. Like I'm listening to this for the first time in the car. I'm like, yo, this chord loop is dope. I can't wait for this like beat to hit. And then it just doesn't. And I was like, what? And then that comes in and I was like, okay. Like I'm still down.
Will was
Like,
convinced.
this is
Will was
still
like,
cool.
this is sick.
Yeah, well,
That
maybe the material isn't my favorite. I do think this is like, I want this to be my Dealing with Haters theme song because the lyrics are just such a fantastic reply to all the haters just like shouting on you online.
Really?
I think I saved the lyrics, so hold on. Let me get those pulled up for y'all.
All right.
Go for it, Sam.
There are so many unlucky bastards in the world. So what? Just keep going your own way. There are so many incomprehensible bastards in the world. I just step on it harder. Just step on it harder. Yeah, I fuck it up. I fuck it up. Hate is harmful, but I suck it up. Now I'll go the other way, to the cliff, together with brother Sanyan. I'll worry my mother, maybe even above the law. No, never, no. I'll live a good life, but you never know. Just lower your eyes, so don't provoke me. If you want to be friends, just pour me a drink, you dig?
Yeah. I really, really, really like these lyrics. And also the way that you read it felt like very slam poetry, and I loved it. Or like storybook, audiobook vibes.
Hell yeah.
So, and I feel like just the confidence of the fat beat definitely really supports what was being
Yeah.
said lyrically.
Yeah, like it leans into the things that I like when I like songs. Like the groove is really good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the chords, like the all the like the melodies are really good. The pre-chorus also is really interesting. How it goes from like a C to a B flat to an A flat to an E flat into a G. Like I thought that was a really interesting chord change.
It's also just nice variation from where we were before. You feel
Exactly,
like it's
yeah.
just new material that contrasts a lot with the groove. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
You know, something that I just pretty much noticed, or like I had kind of not directly thought about, but kind of realized before, but there's kind of a significant harmonic and just like vibe shift between the first and the second half of the album. I feel like after the interlude, there's a lot more kind of jazz-y harmony in a way, but it also shifts from, because a lot of those first songs are very they're like minor and like Phrygian kind of. You have a lot of the like flat 2 thing going on. It feels a little bit more like dark. And then the second half of the album feels a lot less dark to me. There's a lot more, like this one is in a major key, and it's kind of just oscillating between like 1 and 6 minor. And I don't know, like it feels like it takes on a very different vibe. And like a lot of the songs, I mean pretty much all of them, actually on the second half are
Very
a
joyful.
distinctly different harmonic character than I feel like the first half is.
I completely agree. I don't know if I would say it would be jazz enforced though.
It's not necessarily, yeah.
I
don't
do
know.
agree that the second half feels a lot lighter, especially spoilers when we get to the last song that is just like completely like different from everything in my opinion. Probably like aside from the interlude, like probably the biggest change, but I would honestly argue that it feels a little bit more like the arrangements are like a little bit less experimental in the second half. Like I can kind of, not in a negative way, but I can kind of like guess a little bit better where certain like where the arrangements are and like what kind of part in the songs we're at.
But also to go back to talking about Groin specifically.
Sorry, I definitely kind of steered that away from that. Sorry.
There's a dope ass fuzzed out guitar solo at this moment. If you want to press play.
Oh yes.
It's like so understated, but also so much attitude. Okay, I think that was maybe in the middle of where it was. I think it starts a little bit earlier. But it's just like, once again, material returns, and there's like, just like a musician is having fun and soloing over it. That's what I get from this album. It's just like a lot of collaboration, a lot of just musicians doing musician things. Like
this really is like an album of like collective musicians, and I think that's really, really cool.
It reminds me a bit of Samuel Suh's Unity album, in which Samuel Suh's Korean hip-hop R&B solo artist, and he created this album called Unity, in which he wanted to promote analog instruments, and it's just literally for all the songs he went in the room with his melody, and he and the musicians worked out the arrangement, everything else to go under it. And I'm getting very similar vibes to this album. So I'm just like already head over heels in love with everything that happens. And then last but not least, for Groin, there's like a sound of a tape recorder stopping. Do I go to the very end? Very, very end. And I'm wondering... What is that? What is it? I don't know. That's why I was like, tape recorder?
I'm not sure.
Mark?
I actually have no idea.
Because you know how our AME professor, he had us record to tape?
On tape.
Is that how it sounds when the tape ends? I never got to the end of a tape.
Actually, I never actually did that project either because of COVID.
Because there's also... Oh, dang! No, it's so fun.
Yeah. But I feel like it's... I don't know. Maybe.
Or like a film strip or a cassette tape. It's something along the lines of, okay, something has ended. It also kind of sounds like if you have a measuring tape and you like release... It goes...
Yeah.
Oh, it goes... Yeah.
So I'm sure there's some sort of deep meaning behind that. But because I'm like, why? Why end it this way?
Did they record it on tape?
It's a sick little sound just to like
it's
end
so
it.
sick.
If they did record it on tape, that would be insane. Like
that would be crazy.
Yeah. Definitely at the very least, there's for sure like if they're just doing it digitally, it's probably some kind of tape emulation, like distortion on the drums. I would guess it has that kind of like vintage character to it.
I actually think
so. Maybe I feel like it's possible that. Sorry to.
No. I totally jumped.
But I feel like it's possible that could just be a sample that they were just like, oh, it'd be cool to do something that sounds kind of like a tape stop like sound at the end. Just because they were already kind of going for a little bit of tape, analog, vintage, distortion sound throughout the entire drum part. If they actually recorded it on tape, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would.
And that's a real like tape sound.
Yeah,
that would be super, super sick.
I could see them doing it for sure.
It's definitely possible.
Questions for the producers. Ah! Okay, Heaven, my number 3.
Okay,
this is your number 3. Yeah.
Heaven was like, I thought about putting it in my top 3 for a second, but I don't know. Somehow just it didn't quite hit. It's a little bit too, I don't know, spacey and like distant, which is a sick vibe.
That's what I love
but I'm
about
more a fan of the like upfront groovy stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, this just hits right where I need it to. This is like the vibe that I really, really enjoy. I love the chords.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the chords are beautiful, and the melody. Yeah.
The melody is interesting. It takes some interesting twists and turns. I made a few notes of places where I thought, oh, this is like an interesting way to land.
Do you have the time codes for them?
Yeah, I do.
Nice, let's go.
So to begin, like I got that the chords were an F sharp to D to A to B, and that's just kind of like the land that it lives in. But there was a clash of the melody at 40 seconds, and let's listen to that.
You don't need to hide it.
Right there. Right
Yeah, the
there.
hide
It works.
Right
though.
there.
It works. Hide it.
because
Yeah.
because he moves.
What's the chord? What's the chord right there?
So it's a D major chord, but the reason why it clashes is because there's an F sharp and an E natural in that in the instrumentation, where he's singing an F and an E flat. So
Oh, okay. I wasn't actually sure if there's an F sharp in this chord or not. I thought it might be a D like 6/9 kind of thing.
Oh,
like a more open. I was debating that this morning, and I was like,
am I going to
can't
get mad
tell.
at this, or am I
Yeah.
going to enjoy it?
Huh?
Is Will going to get mad at
Oh
this,
no,
or are you going to
I
enjoy
was not mad. In fact, I wrote in my note of
Yeah?
like this melody. This is a perfect, like careful crafted melody that fits in beautifully with like really, like difficult harmony to write to. Like it's really
Totally.
it's really advanced harmonically. It's gorgeous, but it's like multiple different key centers and it's like moves a lot. But I thought the melody was perfect. There are moments like that. If we do find out that in fact there is an F sharp in that chord, I still wouldn't mind it because this is something that I've talked about on the channel before as well. If it's a flat 3 over a major chord in a certain context, if the phrasing is right, it works because it's like essentially coming from the tradition of the blues, you know?
yeah.
Like that sound, like it's very common, like in jazz especially. It's like, you know, you're playing a blues and it's like the one chord is a dominant 7 chord with a natural 3. You can play the flat 3 all day long on that and it just sounds like cool and bluesy.
Yeah.
So in certain moments with a certain like type of phrase, you can definitely play a flat 3 on a major chord. It can totally work, especially that find it, like it resolves down. I have no issue with that at all. If you flip it the other way, sing a major over a minor
Oh
chord.
yeah. No.
Nah, I mean, you know, I don't want to say always, but it's like most of the time, it's pretty whack if you do that.
Yeah. I think my I don't want to say issue, but where my ear kind of picks it up is not the flat 3, but there's a flat 2 as well. That it's an E flat. No, yeah, the ba over a ba da ba 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 chord, which to me sounds really crunchy.
Wait, where is that?
Oh, I guess it's like in between E and E flat, but I'll play it one more time.
Oh, the E there.
Yeah, the E flat.
Oh, they're like a slightly flat.
Yeah,
they're
so
slightly
it's like,
flat.
So it's like in a little bit flat to
Interesting.
natural
Yeah.
to, and that's the note where I'm like, whoa, what?
It does sound a little bit out. I didn't like really notice that before, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're definitely like going for. I mean, I would interpret that as like a kind of a stylistic like.
Oh, totally.
They're just going just a little bit flat for the vibes. On
Yeah.
For
on
the
E.
vibes.
Yeah.
But they're going for an E, not an E flat, because
Yeah,
the E fits in the chord there. What is the first chord again?
it's F sharp. I got it as an F sharp major 9.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was an F sharp major 9, and then it was a D, maybe D major, D like 6/9, something like that.
Something like that.
And then the next chord, wasn't it like I think it was a C sharp like sus actually.
Oh, I got it as an A.
Oh wait, am I misremembering? No, next chord is A. Sorry, A is the next one, and then it's the C sharp sus thing.
Yeah.
After that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Or I think
Although
at
I
first
might
it's
have
a
the bass
B.
line wrong on that.
At first it's
It
a
could be
B, and then a little bit later in the song it goes to C sharp.
Oh, it's
So,
B at
like-
the beginning, and then okay,
Yeah,
I was probably
yeah,
listening
yeah.
later, and
But
then
both
just thought it
both
was
times are
that the whole time.
suspended, so it's like
Cool.
super open
That's
voicings
sick.
for everything.
I'm definitely following everything that you're talking about. Where I'm just like, The atmosphere is nice. I love the fact that just the vocal line, the vocal melody feels so full because of the octaves. He's got the da 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 and the da da da, and this is like this range is way too low for me to sing with, but I can just easily do falsetto along with it. The amount of reverb is perfect. The fact that the basses sometimes starts out in unison with the vocal melody and then drops away to play its own thing. It just like starts the phrases off more strongly. Then I mentioned that I wanted to talk about 38 seconds in, but I have no idea what I wanted to say, so maybe I'll know now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Is that a slide? Is that a finger slide? Or is that
I don't actually know what that is. It could just be a synth with a glide where they just turned the glide up and just went and then had it like, because it ends up landing on a note and it stays on that note for a while, so it doesn't sound like
a whammy bar.
It's not a slow down effect, for example. That was one thought of like, it could be something like a sound where they were like, wow, like they made it like slow down. It's not that. It also doesn't really sound like a guitar slide because the way the sustain is, you would hear this with the frets
and the precision of
the same.
Also, the precision of the landing point too definitely makes me think it's not a slide. I think it is a glide.
I feel like it's a glide on a synth, and then there's a little bit of like resonance in there somewhere, like in the patch, because it goes now, like there's something in there, like it's not a smooth like there's the so somewhere there's some kind of filter on it that has like a resonance.
I think you're right.
So cool. Yeah, and that just downwards motion makes me imagine a shooting star.
Oh, that's a really sick visual for it.
Yeah, this entire song just has me in a very, very nice space. And then we do transition over from, I believe that's an electric guitar of sorts, right? That's like strumming the chords. And then towards the end we do change to acoustic guitar. So it's just very comfortable textures, and it's just so beautiful.
There's one more melodic thing that right there, because it's
the slide.
Because they land isn't is an E flat over a suspended chord of a D flat.
It's a D flat, but the D flat becomes just a D flat 7. It's a sus, and then the 4 resolves down. So I think the slide is like happens kind of in that resolution like moment to the
it happens
third.
Right before the resolution though, so it's like
so it's like
so
it's for a second
with the so it has that flat 3 over a suspended chord, and as soon as it's gone is when it resolves. So I think it's really cool how it's like you can hear that.
Wait,
half.
Okay, yeah. Wait.
So
play it again.
Listen to the in the vocal, and then you hear the in the guitar once it comes back in.
When inside it, if that's your delight.
That's so cool.
And then
actually,
there's the F natural right there.
That's awesome. See, I think that's a beautiful attention to detail in that.
I think
because
that's so
you're
sick.
Dealing with like these minor, major, like there's like 3 different key centers actually that are happening throughout the song, and you're trying to do this vocal slide effect where you're sliding in between these 2 keys, and one of the notes like is a half step off from what it should be, but then you're sliding down, so it's like it creates, I don't know, it
totally,
just like totally it works perfectly.
Yeah,
big fan.
100%. And the fact that it's like so precisely like unclashed is so sick. It's so sick. Like it doesn't feel like anything is like mushy or like it. You can't tell like what is exactly the harmonic focus. Like everything is. That's a good word for it. Everything is so like harmonically focused in a way that like is so. It's so sick. It's so precise. And like the locations for where those notes that would determine what the quality of that chord is I'm just that moment
Yeah.
for me is like so special.
That is really
So
sick.
that itches you the right way.
yeah.
Okay.
Both times.
I thought at first that you were saying
Yeah, I thought it was like another
Oh
thing that
no,
you're like,
no. The first one was me being like, okay, I just need to figure out like how I'm unpacking this quality. This one is purely like I picked this out because I think this rocks so hard.
Okay, cool. It does rock.
Hell yeah.
Now, do we think Lost rocks? I do get
Lost.
bopping. I do quite get bopping to this song. It raises my spirits. It gets me whenever the little thing comes in. I'm like, yeah. Like it gets me out of my seat. I love the horn line. The piano is starting off with only like piano as the instrumental, and just like with that constant driving motion, subdivisions forward, very strong beat oriented. And it's like at the very beginning, you hear the melody in such a specific context so that when we do hear it later again, it provides a whole new perspective just because of like what beats are emphasized, right? So before we're kind of like floating, everything is very downbeat oriented, and then later on we get a ton of subdivisions, and so you just like rush forward. There's a lot of forward motion, whereas this beginning is just like, ooh, where are we gonna go? Yeah, it's really nice. And then when we have like, it switches from this very floated feeling to rhythmic at 46 seconds in. It hits so hard for me. Yeah.
I'm goddamn lost. I never been a club before I hit the club.
So good.
Yeah, like the little fluttery moments.
Yeah, little woodblock type of thing. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, it's just I'm just a sucker for like really fast subdivisions in the background of song.
Yeah, totally.
So whenever that hits in this song, I'm like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad this is here.
I think it's interesting that those subdivisions lie within the synth line, because for some reason I was kind of hearing it as like a hi-hat, like like as like kind of your upbeat like beat switch up. So hearing kind of the synth kind of take over that like like train track, like keeping everything moving, is really cool. I also did not so this is the first song I heard from this record because this was one of the singles before the record dropped, and I remember being like flabbergasted that instead of being a pocketed groove, they went with like an umcha beat with like umcha, because the soul like it almost feels like a soul sample with all the vocal layering and stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, I was
so
gonna say
I
I
thought
was
it was
getting a
gonna be
little bit
like,
of
I got
soul,
that,
gospel, yeah.
Like that's the kind of the direction I thought it would take, because a lot of songs that like kind of build into that tended to take that route in my experience. I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't really think of one right now because Lost is on the mind. But I just, for some reason, it subverted my expectations of where it was going to go. And I thought that is super, super cool.
Yeah, it's just when it is thinned down to very specific instrumental and melodic material, you think, oh, this fits so much with this genre. And then when they add in this like more trap, more pop, like electronic beat, then you're like, wait, it works, but like I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. What do you think of this song?
Not gonna lie, I think this is maybe my least favorite track on the album. I didn't really write a lot for it, and I was kind of not sure like why. There's nothing there's nothing wrong with it. It's still a very good song, but there wasn't a lot that I really like gravitate toward in this song. I think I didn't enjoy the kind of thing. I'm a big pocket guy. Like I want it to be a hip hop kind of thing. That being said, like it is a vibe though, for sure. And it is a nice like change of pace for the album. I think it also kind of helps contribute to the same idea I had before about the second half being more upbeat? Just a different vibe. It's more upbeat. It's a different vibe. It feels a little bit more positive. Yeah, than the first half. And like this this song would make no sense on the first half of the album.
Totally.
But
I
here,
totally agree.
it totally works.
Yeah, and if you watch the music video, I haven't watched the entire music video, but I watched the first little bit, and it has this very quirky yet deep message vibe, and I think this song also has that kind of, it's like the first kind of quirky stuff that we're experiencing in this album, so I enjoy like that change of tone, and I just love that it's just always moving forward. I was writing down 116, there's contrast. 132, there's contrast. 140, there's contrast. The producer paid so close attention to not losing us as the song goes on. Like, let's make sure if we have rhythmic element here, let's slow it down for halftime for a little bit. Let's add in more melodic content here because we were just rapping. It's just like, it's constantly changing, and I'm constantly with you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on this ride. I'm moving forward.
Especially since the skeleton of this song is just those like piano like eighth notes, like bum 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 bum. Exactly. Yeah.
And it's also, I think, the same chord progression the entire time.
Yes, but
Which might be one of the reasons why it doesn't fully gel with you.
Maybe.
But I know like the texture change and the feel changes up.
So it's the same chords in the piano the entire time.
Okay.
But the bass recontextualizes what the chords, what the actual like chord tonalities are.
Let's go.
So once the bass comes in at the end, I caught it around 328. But the bass moves from playing G, because it's the chords are a G sharp minor 7 and an A sharp minor 7 in the right hand, but the bass starts playing a G sharp, and the bass kind of plays along to that G sharp, A sharp, but then it starts playing a B and a C sharp. So it goes from this kind of like very tonally ambiguous, these tonally ambiguous chords, to now feeling like there's some sort of like place that it wants to resolve to. And there's this
adding in the third,
super sick part where in 328 it starts to, you start to hear, okay, B, we're at B, and we're at C, we're at C sharp, and then to finish it off it plays an actual D sharp to actually resolve. It's the first time in this record that I can, or the first time in this second half of this record where there's like a chord progression that actually, where it starts kind of tonally ambiguous and he finds a resolution for it. Because in Heaven there was never any resolutions. In there's the other ones also, they didn't have it. No, go back. Whoa, where are we? Wait, oh, okay, we're back. Woo, okay. Hi guys, we're back. So
I got temptation.
okay, let me back it up.
Temptation. I got
And there's that
Oh,
resolution
go
right
down
there,
up
right
to
there.
the sixth,
I
yeah.
got temptation.
Like, it is a deceptive cadence, but the fact that there's actually like just the smallest amount of like harmonic closure in just like a split second is something that's so small, but like you realize, like, wait a second, there really hasn't been like a lot of moments where when chord progressions are introduced as, okay, we're gonna go from the minor 2 to the minor 3, or especially in Heaven where it's kind of like chord progression, and then even though there's like an A and B, which would make you think, oh, that'll be a 4, that's a 4 to a 5, and then it goes to F sharp, which makes you feel like, oh, that's why it feels really like dreamscapey. I think it's cool that they kind of set up an expectation for that and then actually kind of subverted it, but then also because it's a deceptive cadence, like by definition subverts your expectations again, even though it's not, even though in the piano it's still those same exact chords.
Yeah.
That was very long-winded,
But it also,
it's very
like,
exciting.
While I may personally get bored of just like constant 8-note or quarter note like chord progressions being looped, they do change it to like halftime with a totally different synth at one point. Then they change it to the guitar, then they, like they constantly keep the instrumental changing, and when the feel, like the rhythm, the groove changes so much, and when the instrumentation changes, it took me like 5-6 listens to realize, oh, that is the same chord progression. Well, I mean, other than what Sam just said, like that is the same chord progression. It's just the feel changes so often. And there's like little textures that do pop in throughout. I think I caught there's some sort of like record scratch, type sounds in there as well. And it's just like, it's enjoyable. It's not really close to my top 3, but this song I do really, really enjoy.
Yeah, I share the sentiment. I enjoy it. It's not really in my top. It's probably on the lower half than it is the higher half, but there's still like a lot to enjoy about it, which I think is really cool.
Around the world in a day.
Around the world in a day.
My number one. My other number one.
This is also my number one.
Let's go.
This is my number one.
Were you familiar with Moses beforehand?
No.
This is my first time hearing
I had never heard of him before.
You
actually.
have?
Oh.
I
Sam,
love his
tell
voice.
us.
Oh, Moses Sumney is so first of all, what a voice.
Yeah.
And also just makes some of the most just like beautiful I guess R&B, but just the vocal textures that he has in his songs are so intimate, but so like beautiful. He has an album called Aromanticism that is just like from 2018, where the especially the second song, because that song is more like a plucky arrangement, but with like these just unbelievable string textures, while he's just like basically like singing in like solo voice, just singing over it. And it's beautiful. He's great.
You've sold me to check out the rest of his stuff.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Sure.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So dynamics.
Yeah.
Dynamics. My main comment. Like, starts off.
And dynamics created through like it's not only just physical, loud, soft changes. It's the production. It's like it's elements in the song that are being added, taken away, building, swelling, cutting out. Like my favorite moment on the entire album is like it's about halfway through. I forget.
Is
if I
it
wrote
the
down
trumpet?
The trumpet thing happens, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then it swells into this crazy build, and then it suddenly stops,
like A Day in the Life by the Beatles. Like dissonant swell, and then it just explodes.
In A Day in the Life.
Yeah, it's at like 2:15.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
But you should play it if you're gonna
sucks.
play it from like significantly before that, so you can hear that whole like build. Also, this thing is crazy.
Oh yeah, this
is
guitar,
that like a guitar?
Yeah.
Just distorted.
I think they just like put like an insane noise gate on it, and then like just put the most ridiculous distortion on it.
Also, I love the groove. I love
So
the groove. This is
good.
like, I think that's my favorite groove on the album too. It's super simple. Yeah.
Yeah, this.
Woo! That's so sick.
So sick.
Just the descending bass.
Yeah, the descending line.
There's your lament, babe. Oh, except, never mind.
Yeah.
And the ascent. And then new lick.
Yeah.
Such great bars from RM as well. Da, 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 da. Ooh.
And then just sit
totally
right back into that
Right
little
back
subtle,
in.
just like jam.
Yeah. With the same guitar line from the.
The way like that's definitely a consistent theme throughout this album is like crazy dramatic changes in instrumentation and in feel.
Yeah.
But they just work so perfectly. That transition is like crazy. Like the feel is totally different. The chords are totally different. Like the vibe is totally different. You go from electric guitar strumming, like almost rock sounding, to like kind of groovy, chill R&B, like whatever. But it just works perfectly. It's just really, really spectacular.
I love this part almost the most because you hear Moses harmonizing.
So good.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that line is. Yeah,
Yeah, the
so
ending.
Good. That's so
oh my
good.
gosh. Oh man, I also love how like anthemic it feels. Like it really feels like obviously even though there's still a song left, I don't.
Two songs left.
It
is part of the album.
Oh, that's true. But like in terms of like
okay, one full song.
Yeah.
Left.
It just feels like such like a huge moment.
Finale.
Like, yeah, like it really like if he were ever to tour for this record, I feel like that would be the moment. Because Come Back to Me feels like the ending of the record, but like this would be how you close a show, you know, with like everyone coming back out in like just like a huge like an arena sized like show of like everything going on, like guitars, bass, drums, like everything. It just feels huge.
I want to see this on tour so bad. I was gonna save that comment for the
crazy.
very end of this podcast, but oh my god!
Is he touring this record?
Well, he's in the military. I want him to tour with his record so effing bad.
Do you think he will, like, when he gets out?
I mean, I hope so. A lot of Suga already did a world tour. J-Hope did some performances. Jungkook, like all the other members, did some solo performances.
When does he get out of the military?
In about a year, I think.
Oh, so it's not close even.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, all of them will be out. It will be in 2025. That's what I know.
Yeah. But that still is like, dang.
Yeah, Moses was just like decorating the entire song with his beautiful runs and riffs. Yeah. And it just, there's so many soft moments where they get really intimate, and there's so many amazing moments that you can all sing along with. Just layering upon layering, loved all the horns. Kind of wish we had more trumpet in the rest of the album as well. Like,
yeah,
it was
I would have been down for more trumpet, but I do appreciate the subtlety.
Yeah.
It definitely is a fun, nice little ear candy to just happen kind of in that one spot.
True.
Yeah, definitely a fan of subtlety.
Yeah, and we start off this song with the look around, the melody, and it's really, really quiet. And then when it finally returns, it's that full choir sound. Yeah. So that makes me think, I actually didn't read the lyrics for this one yet. Whoops. But it gives me the thought of like, if you travel around the world in a day, you start collecting more and more friends and people, right? And so that's everyone joining in with you at the very end. And I dig everything about this song.
It's so good. I honestly, when making my top 3, I like accidentally said it was Domodachi, Out of Love, and Groin. But I think I like Around the World in a Day definitely significantly more than Out of Love. I think it might be Domodachi, Around the World in a Day, and Groin.
Okay.
These two to me just feel like so insane. Like this one's just Domodachi. Like so, Domodachi is just so like wild that it's just so entertaining and exciting. Like it's so exciting. And then Around the World in a Day is just is also like so exciting and just so like how do you make a song that's like groovy and
catchy
huge
and soft, just everything.
Yeah, like two things that like by themselves would make an incredible song, but they're both there.
Yeah, very cool. 100%. So for this credit roll, I love that the title is you, which is just like the crying face, you know, when it comes to emojis. That's what the two symbols are before credit roll. Because
I don't know
it's
about
in
that.
the Korean alphabet. It's the you sound, you, and then like when you type in Korean, if you want to make a crying face, that's the face that you make. So it's like
interesting. Okay,
credit roll.
I learned something today.
But this, I think it's so cute. This is so adorable. Like, will you stay to the end? Thank you for, spending your time with me.
Yeah.
And I love the fact, no auto-tune, baby. He is here raw with us. We got his raw vocals.
Is that a raw vocal?
For me, I
it.
thought I heard some intonation discrepancies.
Do you stay inside or go to live?
Oh yeah, I can see
he's
this being a
definitely
raw
not being
vocal.
auto-tuned, yeah.
For everyone's time.
Yeah.
I just love the rawness of that.
Oh, totally. It's very, very cool.
Especially since it's like kind of like addressing your
Yeah.
listener.
Yeah.
It feels really like honest and like real. Like
It's
that's
very
cool.
direct and personal.
And just building upon this melody with
Yeah.
the harmonies. There's I counted 6 vocal layers, because there's even just da 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 da. There's a spoken layer, and then the rest are harmonies or octaves. And then going back down. And then ending with the question,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that
that's really
people
sick.
will then be rewarded with "Come Back to Me" if they stick
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
I
I love it. I'm
That's-
also just a big fan. Sorry.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Big fan of the way that the melody and the harmony interact in that little synth part at the beginning. It's really creative. It's really unique actually, because it's not very standard harmony by any means. It's a relatively simple melody. Dun, 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 dun. But the way it's harmonized is really unique, and there's voices kind of being added and taken away in different moments, and there's a couple I know the first time when it resolves, do 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 do, that chord has a half step crunch somewhere in there. It's I want to say it's a 4 minor chord with a 9 in it or something, but I really it feels so creative and also very raw in kind of a different way. It's not raw in a unprocessed vocal way, but it's raw in a creative expression way. It's
This is a first take type of.
yeah, oh definitely. And you can even
right?
hear there's parts in the keyboard part where it's rhythmically it's slightly off,
Did you notice at the
Yeah.
very end?
Yeah.
That was so
And-
cool.
but it's such a vibe.
It's
And
such a vibe.
that's something that honestly is such a challenge as a producer, because how do you know when something
Oh,
needs to be done
yeah.
again because it's not clean enough, or
Uh-huh.
when it is just slightly off but it's just the vibe is right.
yeah.
It's that's a really tough thing, but this nails it. It's it's a little bit rhythmically weird, it's not
Yeah.
perfect. It wasn't a
Yeah.
perfect take at all, but the vibe is
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I also think the kind of what's the word I'm looking for? What you were talking about with the vibe, I think a lot of it has to do with the intention of the song as well, where it's clearly addressing everyone, saying thank you for listening, and this is even calling it the credit roll, having it only be a minute. It all kind of works in the favor of allowing to do a song that it has a little bit more a little bit looser, so to say, because you're really going for something that's really intentional, or really personal and really intimate. That's kind of how I see it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
And now, Come Back to Me. This is just zone out and have a nice time.
Yeah.
This song I found myself enjoying so much more if I'm not trying to turn on that musician brain and analyze every little detail,
Right.
if I just sit back and enjoy it.
Totally.
Because we do, for the last 2 minutes of the song, repeat the same exact melody over and over. However, those guitarists be going off.
Yeah,
and
there's
I
some
can
great solos.
imagine live, if they had, RM, he's been
go
playing
crazy.
sax.
Oh.
And if RM, if he feels confident enough, he could just shred
That
over
would
the
be
last
sick.
2
That'd be
minutes.
so insane.
His backup singers, his choir just singing that melody, and then he just shows off his sax chops. I
That'd
would
be
love
so
to see that.
insane.
So this doesn't rank super high because I do enjoy active listening and picking apart what's happening here and here. But I am also most looking forward to hearing this live.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
maybe out of all of the songs above just to see like what the group does, like the musician group that's been playing with RM this whole time. What did you guys think of this song?
I think out of all of the songs, I think
You said
alluded
that
to
you
this
didn't
before.
feel like fit stylistically. Did
Well,
you
no,
listen to it
it's not that
first?
it didn't
okay.
fit stylistically. I actually think that it's the most different of all of them, from a pacing standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was alluding this in the conversation about the interlude, but I think everything in this record is really airtight. Is composed really airtight, where there really isn't like a moment, like a lot of moments where it's like the music is there just to like repeat something or to like let people like jam really hard. Like if there's a groove, it's kind of because there's an intentionality behind it, or because we want to transition into a new section, so we want to like give a certain line, we want to give a certain instrument more time, and we want to have. This song is completely the opposite, where it's like a long stretch of time, and it feels really what was the word that I used? it feels really anthemic in a way. And it feels like a really nice way to. It feels like a lullaby, is what I wrote. It feels like it feels like a really nice way to give your listeners closure on a record that's really complex and moves around a lot and is really like wild. So that's kind of how I interpreted it. So it's, yes, it does sound sonically a little out of place, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. And what's interesting to me is this was the first song he released. This was released as like a pre-release single. He released a music video for it first before any of the other tracks were released.
Did it come out as a 6-minute song?
Because I noticed that track has like some of the most highest plays of, I think it might be the most played on the album right now. But which makes sense, 'cause it's the first single.
It's shorter. The music video. Okay. The music video is shorter.
The music video is shorter, okay.
But
if the audio, it was different on the Spotify release from the single to the album, it wouldn't show up with the same play count. I'm pretty sure, unless they like really did some weird stuff to like make that happen.
It's 4 minutes on YouTube.
Yeah, this is the radio edit.
The radio edit.
I think
Okay.
they did release the radio. I think they
Maybe
did
they
release the radio edit
first.
first.
Okay.
Wow, and then that'd be crazy if they somehow kept the same play count on the album version. Like they transferred the plays. To
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
interesting.
the full.
But also, I could see the single, like, because in like album cycles, usually the singles that had been released get also the most like exposure to being played more. So I don't know if like there, it also could be that those are just like the numbers from the plays on the just like the record plays, because that's the song that most people know.
I mean, yeah, I guess. But it's like 50 million, and then the other ones are like single digit millions.
Really? Holy cow.
Whoa. If any of our podcast listeners, like if this is your favorite song on the album, let us know why in the comments. We'd love to know. Because for this song, I was talking about like, this is probably the most simplistic when it comes to textures and loops, but he's always adding in layers instrumentally or vocally. And it's just like, it really entraps you into the vibe that it has. And it's like, I do love whenever it reaches the fullest sound where the keys and bass trade off, having little solos. So like they play the chord progression, and then they have like a little fill in the keys, and then chord progression, and then the bass does like a little booda booda booda, but and I'm just like, yeah, this is just nice. It's chill. And I'm so curious to see how it'll go down live. It's got to be the 6-minute version. Also, like, hell yeah to RM for putting a 6-minute song. I didn't feel like some of the critiques that I and my friends have been having with albums lately is just like not enough song length. Like it's always been way too short.
I 100% feel you.
Even though there's been some like 2-minute songs on this, I enjoyed the length for every single song.
That's something that's interesting too. I've noticed that too. One kind of random example in particular, the last Jonas Brothers album. I don't know if you guys like check that out much. I actually thought it was like really good. Like the production on it, I like love it. But all the songs are so short, like 2 minutes.
No.
Like, and that's pretty much it. And I was just listening to all these songs. I'm like, man, this just needs to be longer, and then it will be a good song.
Yeah.
Like it. All you had to do was just loop these parts more. Like make the put in another verse. It's like it would just go verse, chorus, like. And then like that's kind of the end almost like for some of them it's like, man, like why? That being said, I'm also so down.
Will's out here knocking everything down.
Like I'm going crazy on it. I'm so down for short songs too.
Yeah,
but I feel like they have to be a specific type of song, like credit roll. That's great.
It was
perfect.
The same melody over and over, but it was like the context for it changed every single time.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect, like, great message as well.
There's like intention behind everything.
It's awesome. And then another example that I love is like on Coldplay's first album, Parachutes.
Oh,
the title track, Parachutes. It's like, I think it's like 40 seconds long or something like that. It's like really, really short. It's just kind of a little snippet of like a melodic idea. It's just like acoustic guitar and voice. And it's beautiful. And I love that vibe of like intentionally throughout an album placing shorter songs that just kind of share a little snippet of like this idea of like this little emotion. And that's all it has to be. Like you just say what you want to say. And if that's all it is, that's all it is. It's only that long.
I think my favorite one is off of Hone's record. I can't remember what it's called, but they have this 20-second song called "I Love You More Than I Can Say,"
dude,
and it is like one of the most
on No Song Without You. Yeah,
No Songs
dude,
Without You. Yeah,
dude, no, like I like dead ass. That song was my. I think it was maybe my number 1 or number 2 most played song on Spotify one year. The year that album came out, literally No Song Without, or the "I Love You More Than I Can Say." It goes so hard. It's like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's so short,
gorgeous.
But it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And like clearly there's like intention behind it all, and it's so it can work. It can like 100% work.
Yeah. All right, we've reached the end of our discussion for RM's Right Place, Wrong Person. I do have to say personally, as someone who like only listens to K-pop or classical music, it's been years since I've listened to a no-skip album. This is a 100% no-skip album for me. Maybe the last time I had one was probably Samuel Saw's Unity or Day 6's Entropy album, which was like back in 2018. So like I'm just like all in. I'm obsessed with this album, and I really enjoyed discussing it with you guys today. I love being back in the summer and reuniting with you all.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I look forward to future collaborations, future content we're able to make.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you guys all in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.